Welcome to the Man of Recaps. It's The Walking Dead Season 7. Last season ended with our group at the mercy of the new villain Negan and his gang, the Saviors. Negan is a friendly, charismatic type of psychopath, and he doesn't want to kill them. He wants them to stay alive so they can pay tribute to him. But he has to kill one of them to make an example, and he was literally playing eeny, meeny, miny, mo to see who it's going to be, and at the end of the season, he chose one and he bashed them over the head, but we didn't see who it was. So, the whole off season, who was it? Abraham! No! He was a great character, and he gets off one more lick my nuts before Negan kills him for good. Now, Daryl's not going to stand for this. He gets up and punches Negan in the face, but that was against the rules. I told you to stay put, so someone else has to die. It's not going to be Daryl because Negan sort of likes him. It's going to be Glenn! No, Glenn! He's been with us since episode 1! No! And his wife Maggie is pregnant and she has to watch as Negan brutally bashes his head in. So Rick's like, Negan, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I'm going to kill you. Negan's like, dude, I can't have you saying things like that. Do you not understand yet? Here's your son Carl. I'm gonna make you cut off his hand. And Rick has absolutely no choice. It's that or everyone dies, so he's gonna do it. But Negan's like, no, it's okay. I'm not gonna actually make you do that right now, but I could. Do you get it? I own you. He's like, I like Daryl. I'm gonna take him hostage, and Negan out. Now, Carol left our group at the end of last season. She was done with all the violence, wanted to make it on her own, but violence catches up with her, and Morgan has to come and save her life. She's injured, though, and they find these guys wearing like armor and a horse. Yes, they're from the Kingdom. The Kingdom is a great little survivors community, a lot like Alexandria, but they're called the Kingdom because they're led by this dude who has a tiger for a pet. He's King Ezekiel, and he speaks like an old-timey king. Welcome, fair maiden, to the realm of the Kingdom. And Carol's like, what show am I on right now? Now, she doesn't trust anyone, so she tries to bail, but King Ezekiel finds her, and he's like, look, I'm not really a king. I used to be a zookeeper, that's why I have a tiger, and I did community theater, that's why I talk like this. But I'm a really cool guy, you should stay. And she's like, nah, not for now, I gotta go be on my own. So she finds this little house outside a ways, but Ezekiel comes by to give her fruit and stuff because he's got kind of a crush on her. Now, it's a secret, but the Kingdom also has a deal with Negan's gang, the Saviors. They come by once a week to pick up tribute, and even though tensions are high sometimes, Ezekiel always puts a stop to it because he's like, look, we need to maintain peace. So Daryl's a prisoner at Negan's compound, and his main captor is Dwight. Daryl met Dwight and his wife Sherry last season. He helped him out a bit, but they ended up stealing his bike and his crossbow, and later we saw that Dwight joined Negan's gang and got like a horrible burn on his face. Negan wants Daryl to join his gang, and he's like, hey guy, what's your name? I'm Negan. That's, the sign that you're in the gang. So he's like, Daryl, what's your name? But Daryl doesn't want any part of this right now, so they just beat him up some more. Then Negan stops by Alexandria for his first pickup, and Rick lets him in because he knows they can't win in a fight, not without like all of them dying. And the first thing Negan takes is all of their guns. Hey, it's this girl Tara, and this guy whose name I don't know. They left earlier last season to go on a scouting run for supplies. They found this like bridge encampment, and they looked around, but zombies ended up overwhelming them. Tara fell off the bridge. She washes up on shore and finds this little fishing community of all women. They're not friendly though. They normally shoot strangers on sight. It's just this one girl wanted to protect her. It's her grandma who's the leader here, and she explains that it was Negan's gang that killed all of their men. The girls managed to escape, and that's why they shoot strangers on sight so no one can find where they are. They say they'll let Tara go, but turns out they're just gonna shoot her anyway, so she's saved again by the granddaughter, and she's like, look, you've got to swear a solemn vow that you'll never tell anyone where we are. And Tara's like, okay, I promise that. So these two are friends now. They go to the bridge where Tara last saw the other guy swarmed by zombies, but she finds their camper tracks went away with his glasses nearby and this mysterious key card, so presumably he's alive somewhere. So Tara makes the long walk home, but she gets the bad news about the people that have been killed, including her girlfriend that was shot with the crossbow, and so she's pretty sad. Now, last season Maggie was having some baby problems, so they were taking her to the Hilltop Colony, where they conveniently have a baby doctor, and he's like, no, I fixed your problems, you're all good, and so she and Sasha are gonna stay there. But Gregory, their leader, doesn't want that. See, it was Gregory who asked them to kill their savior outpost last season in the first place, and he's afraid if they ever find Maggie here, they'll know, that he did it. And sure enough, right away, the saviors come, led by Negan's right-hand man, Simon. Now, Simon is even more of a smiley psychopath than Negan, if that's possible. And he's like, so Gregory, the savior outpost that used to deal with you guys, all turned up dead. You know anything about that? He's like, no, definitely not. And he's like, good, because if it was you, I'm gonna murder you all. Now, Enid, Carl's girlfriend, wants to go to Hilltop to visit Maggie, so they go there right as the saviors are leaving. So she's gonna stay at Hilltop for the season, and Jesus decides to jump on a savior truck to find out where they live, and he finds that Carl already had the same idea. Negan's base is the Sanctuary. It's this big warehouse factory type of place. Jesus bails out because they're close enough, but Carl's like, hey, I'm going on. I'm not on a scouting mission. I'm on an assassination mission. But he can't get a shot on Negan, so they take him prisoner immediately. Negan's like, I like you, kid. You got balls. Come with me. I'll show you around. Now, besides his gang, he's got a whole bunch of workers that have to bow down to him. He's also got a harem of hot wives, one of whom is Sherry, who used to be Dwight's wife. He likes making out with her right in front of him because, he likes psychologically torturing people. Now, one of his wives just cheated on Negan with her actual boyfriend, and she's not getting punished, but he is. He's getting the hot iron to the face! Oh man! That's the punishment if you break any rule here, and it explains what happened to Dwight's face. He and Sherry still share a cigarette sometimes, but things are, not the same anymore between them. So Negan brings Carl back to Alexandria, but Rick's not home right now. He's out scouting for supplies. They find like a boathouse with a bunch of good stuff on it. So in the meantime, Negan cooks some spaghetti. Now this guy is Spencer. His mom was Deanna, who used to be in charge of Alexandria. He's mad at Rick because he blames Rick for everything, so he decides to go try to befriend Negan. He's like, look, Negan, you don't want to deal with Rick. He's definitely plotting to kill you. You should put me in charge of Alexandria and we can be friends. Negan's like, hey, coming up and asking me to do your dirty work for you, that shows that you got no guts. Boom! He cuts his stomach open, blah! And he's like, oh, there they are, never mind. Now the whole village saw this happen, so Rosita pulls out a gun and shoots Negan, but oh, it's blocked by the baseball bat. So she gets taken down and Negan's like, wait a second, is this a homemade bullet? See, she had a gun stashed in the woods but no ammunition, so she went to Eugene, and he's the kind of smart guy that knows how to make a bullet. Negan's like, tell me who made this or I'm gonna start shooting minor characters, and Eugene's like, oh, it was me, and he's like, hey, smart guy, you're coming with me. Just then Rick gets back and Negan's like, hey, you're welcome, Rick, I didn't kill your son, I just killed some minor characters instead. So Rick and the gang go to the Hilltop Colony where they find Daryl. Someone unlocked the door and left him a note to escape, so he got out of there and Jesus was nearby. He took him back to the Hilltop, and Daryl managed to grab Rick's old revolver, which symbolizes his will to fight or whatever. So the gang's getting ready to fight back. He wants the Hilltop to fight with them, but Gregory wants none of that. Some of the people, though, are willing to fight. They look to Maggie as a leader because when like a zombie broke in, she took the charge and ran them over with tractors. They need more allies, so Jesus brings them to the kingdom. Rick's like, hey, you want to join the fight? And Ezekiel's like, no, I must protect my people. I will not risk open war. And Rick's like, open war is upon you, whether you would risk it or no. But it's a no from them for now. Back at Negan's compound, they're looking into Daryl's escape, and Dwight knows this handwriting. It's his old wife, Sherry. She felt bad for Daryl and let him go. Negan's like, hey, you better go find Sherry and bring her back here. And Dwight's like, yeah, I'm your man, Negan. I'm gonna do it. He goes to their old house where she'd left him a note, and it says, remember how we always said we'd meet up here with beer and pretzels, but after everything you've done as part of Negan's gang, I just don't know if I could trust you anymore, so I bailed. And that's so sad because he did come with beer and pretzels. He was gonna run off with her, not bring her back to Negan. They have Eugene captured too, but they don't put him in a cell. They give him a nice room and a jar of pickles, and Negan's like, hey, so you can make bullets, you're smart and stuff, and Eugene goes into his whole like old thing about how he was like a super scientist, which is mostly a lie, but he is a smart dude, and Negan's like, dang, you're gonna be my new chief engineer. Negan lets Eugene hang out with some of his wives and play video games and also do some science stuff, and they're like, hey, you're really smart, can you help us out? Our friend is really depressed, wants to commit suicide, can you make her like a suicide pill or something? And he's like, well, I guess I'll do that, I'll help out. When Dwight gets back, he says he had to kill Sherry, and also that the doctor helped her help Daryl escape because he needed another scapegoat for Negan to trust him again. And Negan's so mad, he skips the iron and throws the doctor fully into the furnace, which Eugene sees. So when the wives come back, they're like, you have the pill? He's like, no way, I'm not doing anything to piss off Negan. And when Negan comes, he's like, who are you? He's like, I'm Negan, 100% Negan, all the way. So Eugene is now the new chief engineer, and he seems to kind of enjoy being important. Back at Alexandria, Father Gabriel is missing. He left him a note that said boat. It must be the boat where Rick found the supplies, so they go over there and get ambushed by this whole gang of like goth-looking people. So this group lives in the dump. They are trash scavengers. They're led by this lady, and they've been watching the boathouse, so when they saw Rick take the supplies, they went and then they found Gabriel. That's why they have him. Rick's like, hey, there's a bunch of you guys with guns. You want to help us fight Negan? And she's like, well, maybe, but first you have to prove yourself by fighting our trash zombie. It's all spiky, so it's really hard to fight, but Rick manages to, knock it down, and he's like, man, lady, you're crazy. So she's like, okay, we'll help you fight Negan. In exchange, we get most of his supplies or whatever, but first you have to go out and find us a lot more guns. So Rick and Michonne go out looking for guns. They find this big fairground with a bunch of army zombies there, and long story short, they end up with a bunch of guns. But they take them back to the trash people, and they're like, no, we still need more. The kingdom meets the saviors for another pickup, but they're short one cantaloupe, and it's like, hey, you can't be short any cantaloupes, we gotta kill one of you. So they're gonna kill the captain of the guards, but instead they shoot this kid, this teenager. He's had a minor part this season. They take him to Carol's house because it's closer, but he dies. Morgan goes investigating, finds the missing cantaloupe, and it was when they were stopped on the way, the captain of the guards hid it there himself. It's like, yeah, I did it. I wanted them to kill me so that it would force the kingdom to go to war, but I'm sorry it happened to the kid. What we gotta do is get the saviors to trust us again, and then we can launch a strike. They won't expect it. So when they go back with the final cantaloupe, Morgan comes and he beats this guy to death, and it's like, hey, he was the one who hid the cantaloupe. Saviors trust us now because I took him out for you. Then he goes to see Carol and finally fills her in on how Negan killed like Glenn and Abraham, and so she's like, oh, I can't live in isolation anymore. She's like, kingdom, we gotta go to war. And Ezekiel's like, yes, the kingdom shall ride to war. The Hilltop is also gearing up for war. When Simon comes back for a visit, he's here to take their baby doctor because he was the Savior's doctor brother. It's like, yeah, sorry, we killed your brother, but you just got promoted. Congrats. threats. But Gregory talks to Simon in private. See, he's worried that he's going to lose his position as leader here because after he was out with Maggie and she killed a zombie for him, everyone doesn't like Gregory anymore. They like Maggie better. So Simon's like, hey, Gregory, you ever need my help? Come and see me at the Savior compound. And Gregory leaves to go do that, so it puts Maggie de facto in charge at the hilltop. Rick's like, hey, Tara, you've been out real far. Don't you know where any guns are? And of course, the fishing village girls have lots of guns, but she made the solemn vow not to tell. In the end, she decides to bring her group there, though. They take them all hostage. It's like, hey, look, we're not here to hurt you. We just need your guns. In fact, you should join us to fight Negan. But Grandma comes out. She doesn't want any of it, so Granddaughter has to punch her in the face. And just then a bunch of zombies show up, so the group fights a bunch of zombies, and killing zombies together, makes you bond pretty well. But Grandma still refuses to get involved in the fight, so our group takes the guns from them all, leaves them there defenseless, which is kind of a dick move, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Rosita meets up with Sasha. Now, it's awkward for these two because Rosita was dating Abraham the whole time we knew her, but he just dumped her last season when he fell in love with Sasha. But she wants to work together now. She's like, hey, I found the sniper rifle. Want to go assassinate Negan? It's like, hell yeah, I'm in for that. So they go over there to snipe him, but they can't get a clear shot. So that night they go to break in, and they find Eugene. They're like, hey, we're here to rescue you. He's like, no, I am way more scared of Negan than I am confident you can rescue me. So he bails. Sasha breaks in, but locks Rosita out. She's like, hey, it's a suicide mission. Let me just do it. You go live. So she goes in there alone. Of course, Sasha's caught immediately. And Negan's like, hey, you got some big balls, lady. I like that. I'm going to make you pancakes. And if you help join my gang and talk Alexandria down, I'll only kill one of them. And she's like, okay, I'll do that. And when the group gets home, they find Dwight. He came down to talk to them. He's like, look, I'm sick of Negan's stuff. I want to help you guys. He's coming tomorrow to kill you all. So Dwight's going back to Negan to stay undercover, and they get all the trash people to come the next day. They're like, wow, this is a lot better than a dump. What have we been doing? So they're all ready when Negan shows up, and Rick's like, all right, set off the dynamite that we found, but nothing happens. Oh, it's a double cross by the trash people. Can't trust those trash people. They're like, yeah, we talked to Negan behind your back. He made us a better offer, so we're going to side with him. Negan's like, that's right, Rick. If you surrender now, only one of you has to die. Here's Sasha in a coffin for some reason to tell you all about it. But when he opens the door, oh, she's a zombie. What? She attacks him. Earlier, she talked to Eugene. She's like, hey, I'm super depressed. Can you get me a knife or something to kill myself? And he's like, oh, I'll do you one better. I'll get you these pills. But she didn't want to actually kill herself. She wanted to kill Negan. So she figured she can make herself an undead weapon, and she almost gets him, but not quite. The gang uses the distraction to try to fight back, but they're way outnumbered, and they're once again on their knees at the mercy of Negan. He's like, so Rick, you get it yet? How helpless you are? And Rick's like, I don't care. I will kill you. And he's like, man, Rick, you're gonna make me kill Carl, aren't you? I'm gonna bat him right now, but a tiger comes up. That's right, it's the kingdom. They show up in force. King Ezekiel's like, Alexandria shall not fall on this day. Maggie shows up too with the Hilltop Militia. They have a big old fight. Negan's like, I did not sign up for tigers. I'm out of here. Dump people, all escape also. So the good guys win the day. So Dwight's back with Negan. He still trusts him for now, but he left the message for Alexandria that he didn't know about the dump double cross, so he's still secretly on their side. And Eugene's still working for Negan too, but if he ever finds out that he gave Sasha the suicide pill, he'll be in big trouble. So Negan brings his entire gang together, and they prepare for battle, but the good guys alliance is ready too, and next season it's gonna be all-out war.